Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Elisa Maria Designs. I came down this morning, sat immediately at my need more coffee. I sat down at my desk and got immediately on Rico because my little bad boy here, Mr. Miami Vice, he reminds me of, I got stuff everywhere. I cleaned up a lot of my art areas that I have all throughout my house, and I went looking for just maybe somewhere are there drills for Rico, even though I know that there aren't. One thing that I am good with is keeping my drills organized. Okay, let's see here. Let's put that away. Okay, so first things first, coffee, so I can talk. And I told my members in one of my meetings, get Coffee Mates, brown butter, chocolate chip, if you like to dip your Chips Ahoy in your coffee, because it did all the work for you. It is so, so good. It's what got me up this morning. So Mr. Rico, what's going on with him? Well, when I pulled him out, and I spared you all the trauma, he had like just pieces of release paper stuck all over him because he has a lot of bald spots. Rico kind of looks like he went through a hurricane, God forbid. And I am now going through what he needs to be completed because I ran out of drills. Now I did get on the email this morning with Dreamer Designs about Beauty in Violet and this blemish that she has on her face, and can we please come up with something. You know, my brain is just broke these days. My husband's not feeling well, and it takes a lot of energy. And when I do sit down, I feel like I'm just like a scatterbrain, like I can't think. Like part of me is like, is he okay? Is he, does he need anything, And then he forgets that I'm videotaping, so he's moving around the house. And so he ran out this morning to go to a doctor's visit, and I was like, oh. He's like, why don't you come with me? I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think I need a break. So I'm going to go through what Rico needs. And it was really interesting when I was on DP with Sparklers. Someone had Rico, and if you have Rico and you haven't started him, or maybe you just started him, you should go over and check out that. It's one of the things that I really love about DP with Sparklers is that if you have a canvas, you can upload any changes that you've made, and you can share it with the group, or you can send it off to them and they will tell you what to do. But the one thing that I did say, wow, that would have been spectacular. Now, trust me, Rico needs nothing. Every one of the flowers is an AB. The huge flower, I'm trying to move things around. The huge flower here, hold on, I don't want to make you guys seasick. Okay, so this huge flower, basically all ABs. The feathering in him, all ABs. Any flower that you see, AB. So really, what could you bling out with this canvas? Not much. We have, look at this beautiful beak of his, how it's coming along. So I am looking at exactly the numbers that I am running out of. And I think what I'm going to do, because I just need to have it finished, I just need to have something done, is go through my own stash and see, do I have any of these drills? How is everyone? Did I even say hello? I don't even know. Hello. I'm not going to go into a Lionel Richie song, but... Oh, so I was telling you with DP and Sparklers, this one girl took this border here and she did enhance it in a metallic, which I just thought was brilliant, because you have this lace work up here and it kind of looked like a gate. And I'm like, Rico really doesn't need anything. And here comes this girl with like, no, you could put some metallic here, and I was like, wow, what a great idea. Now, I haven't done DP with Sparklers yet. You all know that I'm going to revamp my cupcake. I have a couple other revisions in the works that I shared with my members. So I'm not going to order them until November. Because another thing that I've learned with DP with sparklers is if you um, order something from them, like she's got a little post that says, I'm shedding the weather, that says like October. So if you were to order from her in the month of October, you take your order number for October and you place it under October. And I think there's a once a week rally, no, raffle. I'm not rally. What the heck am I talking about? Like, what am I in high school? We're going to a rally. I think I do have high school in my mind, and I'll tell you why. I watched, and this is for my 80 chicks and dudes. I watched, it was on my watch list for a while. So you guys probably saw it way before me. And I believe it was Hulu. Yeah, because Hulu has that sound. Don't, you know, is that Hulu or is that Netflix? All right, anyway, but I think it's Hulu. And they had something called Brats on. And I just think it's appropriate to talk about it here because Rico just reminds me of Miami Vice. I get so many feels from Rico. He's vibrant and he puts me in a good mood. I'm going to have to shut my door because I have another neighbor that's taking their front down. You might think, what is going on in this neighborhood? Everybody's getting new fronts. And yesterday I watched him take her front down. Now her front really didn't need to be done, but she's probably young and wants to have a new front. And I watched him cut through these bricks. And I looked at John. I'm like, she's going to regret this. He's like, why? I'm like, because I regretted doing my bathroom. I had one of those bathrooms that was like the black and pink tile, those little octagon tiles, or were they blue? They were blue. And then I had the pink tile on the wall, and it was just like, you try your best, especially as an artist, to bring a color in that will kind of like marry them together and make it not look so, I mean, it's one thing to be retro, but it was a retro bathroom, but I couldn't adapt to it. I should have had something else done. When I finally had someone that agreed to take my bathroom flooring up, I literally cried because you will never see workmanship like that again. I mean, it was so hard also to even get the tiles up. So I looked at John and was like, she's going to regret that. She's going to regret taking those tiles down. Now, why is this one rogue? That's not even the right color. I'm glad I looked. I'm like, why is there one rogue drill here that's a different color? Because you don't belong here. I did find I not only found one, I found two. I keep a designated nipper for my drills because you see what was going on here and then you end up scratching them. The jaws can actually catch the drill, whether it's round or square. I'm like, why am I using these tweezers? You know, I used to do nail art, and you know, I would never take nails off of a client with, you know, tweezers. Why am I doing this to my canvas? So, okay, where was I going? Oh, Netflix. No, it's Hulu. So Hulu had a show called Brats. And for those of us that grew up in the 80s, you know, the Brat Pack were the kids that we wanted. They were the cool kids. Like, we wanted to be friends with them, you know. And it was kind of like Sex in the City. Like, I'm a Miranda, I'm a Carrie. You know, like, you know, you knew who you wanted to be in the Brat Pack. Were you more like Ali Sheedy? Were you more like the diva, Demi Moore? All right, now wait. So it's Andrew McCarthy that said, I'm going to call up Judd Nelson, who I waited for in bated breath, Emilio Estevez, Demi, I believe he said how he pronounced her name, Demi Moore, Ali Sheedy, Molly Ringwald. Now, that was the crew of St. Elmo's File, and Rob Lowe. That was the crew of St. Elmo's Fire, although I get them, I mean, because there's a lot of crossover, isn't there, with the Breakfast Club? You have Molly Sheedy in that, you have Judd Nelson in that, you have Emilio Estevez in that. Did I say Ali Sheedy? But you also have Anthony Michael Hall. And, for me, I mean, Judd was like, so like, forget it. That he was my dream boat. But there was also, I think that there was a turn during the 80s where it just seemed like once a week maybe, or like every month, there was like a new kind of movie that was directed to my generation. Like you had Pretty in Pink, you had Less Than Zero, you had Dirty Dancing, you had The Outsiders, you had all these young and unbelievable talent. I mean, every one of the people from St. Elmo's Fire went on to have really long careers. Then you had Tom Cruise, you had Matt Dillon, who I all told you used to come into my cafe and he would make his own cappuccino. Oh God, I almost fainted when he walked into my place. And I don't get, living in New York City, and my ex-husband's place was an icon in New York. Like everybody that wanted pizza went to Lombardi's, and celebrities, just celebrities all the time. So I really was immune to celebrities. But when Matt Dillon walked into my store, and I was closed and I forgot to lock the door, and he walked in, and I was like, he came in and he was dancing. He was dancing and he was looking at himself in the mirror, and I was making cupcakes for the next day. I figured, let me get a jump on the day, but I forgot to lock the door. And when he came up to the register and he was underneath my hi-hat light, I don't know how I didn't pass out. I don't know how I didn't pass. I looked at him, I was like, oh, you look just like my brother, because my brother does look like Matt Dillon. And he used to do this thing, like he used to do that thing with his mouth. And I think he knew at some point that I was shaking, trying to make the cappuccino. And he's like, hey, do you need any help? And I was like, what? He was like, do you want me to help you? I was like, do you know how to use the espresso machine? He's like, yeah. So he would come in once a week to make his own cappuccino. And like my place would be packed. And here comes Matt Dillon. And he would be like, Lee. And I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, Matt. And people would be like, is that Matt Dillon? He was so nice. He was so nice. And the reason why he used to come in my place is because St. Anthony's Church is across the street from me. And in the basement of the church, they used to have AA meetings. And the Who of New York used to attend these meetings, like Billy Joel, Calvin Klein, and of course Matt Dillon. And, when he got out of his meeting and he saw a coffee shop, a cafe open, he came in. So I would say that Matt Dillon it just seems like there's just this cluster of kids, that it was Emilio, and it was Rob, and it was Allie, and it was Demi, and it was Molly. Even though Molly wasn't in St. Elmo's Fire, they kind of brought her in from the Breakfast Club, and there was Judd. So that was the Brat Pack, right? So there's this, Andrew McCarthy, did I forget him? Andrew McCarthy is talking about how everyone was under this perception that they all kind of hung out together, kind of like friends. You see how friends, they're still like, they're really friends in real life. That was not the Brat Pack. And Andrew was saying that there was an article being written on Emilio, and Emilio was sitting down with this guy. I think he said his name was Jonathan Cohen. I'm going to switch colors. Hold on. Okay, so we have our first, I don't have any more drills. It's this it's this guy here, T. This is all I have left, and I don't have enough to fill him in here or anywhere else. So we're putting this on the pile that it needs to be ordered. So let me see, what else do I not have here? Okay, I could put a few in here. A couple of, there's just a few X's here. And then maybe we'll go into this here, A. Okay, look at the color. I mean, this is what I love about this canvas, this hot pink, because we're going to be going over here. Trying not to land on any one of Rico's bold spots because, you know, it's a sin for him. It's a sin. And plus, we're going to do a repair on Rico. Because he had a bald spot, I was leaning on it constantly. And so I have a bald spot on him where I can't place drills. So we're going to do a repair on him, whether it's going to be included in this or a separate video. Do I really need more coffee? Yes. So Andrew was saying, and let me tell you something, Andrew was a heartthrob. I don't know why Jamie Gertz wasn't included in this, because I felt like Jamie Gertz did The Lost Boys. She did Twister. Maybe that wasn't really the 80s. I'm trying to think of movies in the 80s that were just like, you know, what we were watching. Like, and it was also, you know what else it was with these movies, like The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire and Pretty in Pink. It was the music. It was the music. It was, you know, just that edgy, you know, synthesized type of music that we were listening to. Anyway, so Andrew, where am I going? I'm going right here. Okay, I gotta stop talking. Andrew said that a journalist wanted to sit down with Emilio. And now you gotta think too, these kids, and I'm calling them kids, they were all in their early 20s. They were like 21, 22, and they all had the it factor. I don't think that any one of them was better than the other when you were watching these movies. And if any one of you are too young, I know you are getting in our music right now. I know a lot of people, you know, my son loves my music from the 80s. Start watching the 80s movies. Don't think that they're, oh, you know, it's just not, you know, like enough stimulating enough for you. You will be like, because I think every one of those movies was dealing with something that we were going through. And even though I think, right, are we the last generation that didn't have something in our hands? Right? Because all through the 80s, I mean, what do we have? Like a beeper? Like none of us were looking at phones or, you know, I think we're the last generation to not be affected by this world that we live in now, where everybody's on their cell phone constantly. They're walking down the street, you're on the subway. I mean, like, I remember sitting in the subway and this guy was talking about a date that he had the night before. And I didn't want to get involved in what he was doing to this girl, but why do I got to hear it? You know what? Dude, call her up. I want to hear her side of the story since I got to hear yours. Oh my God. You know, it's just like there's no etiquette either with these cell phones and all. Anyway, so do I want to go here? I think I want to stay here. I think because this may be another one that I'm going to run out of because I just see a little tiny bit right here. Let's clean up this little bald spot, Rico, because you had to see what he looked like. He looked like he was in a war. I had release paper all over him. He looked like a wounded warrior with band-aids all over him. Anyway, so yeah, I think that we were the last generation that, you know, didn't grow up with these, you know, attached to cell phones. And like, you know, when we had to get in touch with each other, you know, it was just so different. It was just so different. We weren't walking around with cell phones. We weren't, you know, breaking up with guys and then spying. Like maybe we did. Maybe we did run around to different neighborhoods and like, where is he? What's he doing? You know, like, is he hanging out with the boys? What's he look like? Does he look heartbroken? Yeah, that we broke up. You know, like. But now today, it's an artificial world. You know, now today, you break up with somebody, they go and put on social media where they're at, what they're doing, who they're with, and I'm having a great time. No, you're not. No, you're not. I gotta close this door. What are they taking down now? They took down all the bricks. Well, I'm glad I got up because there was a package on my step. And, you know, did you guys hear anybody knock on the door? What am I on? This guy. Oh, he's all done. So yeah, I think I was saying how we were the last generation to grow up without this technology, and you know, we just, you know, we just grew up. I if somebody said you could be 21, I'd be like all over again. I'm like 21 and 2024 or 21 back in the 80s when I grew up, because I don't want to be 21 in this day and age. Hopefully there's no more of these. Let's look around. Because if not, he's going on the I have no more left list. It's a sin. Look at how there's like just like little dots of stuff because I can't fill in. So he would be along the neck. I think that this color is done. You're done. You're done. There is no more of you. All right. So I know that these are all ABs, and I want to put in the last of whatever the color is before I put the ABs in, because I have my putty in from Art Dot, and I, you know, I want to use that. So Andrew was saying, and Andrew McCarthy, he just had this way about himself, like he was like always like the shy boy, right? And they were showing clips of him being interviewed back in the 80s about his fame and all. And you could see where he's just so disturbed by the questions being asked. And he's just like, it was like almost like we weren't human, you know? And he just has this look about him, this like little boy lost look where he like puts his eyes down and like the person asking the question he's not even absorbing that you're making this boy uncomfortable with the questions that you're asking. But he said that the Brat Pack moniker started with Emilio. That, you know, Emilio's father, God, his name just went in and out of my head, was a great actor, is a great actor. Is he still around? I don't even know. And Emilio wanted to be more behind the camera than in front of the camera. He wanted to write, he wanted to direct, he wanted to do all that. And then it was like, oh, like at such a young age, you're going to like do this. But like I said, we were turning a corner. Like the movies were all about kids our age. Like every weekend, like every month, there was like a movie. And then don't forget too, we had something called VHS where the movie was on a tape, and you could have went to your local Blockbuster or video store, and you could have gotten this video, and you could have watched it over and over and over again. So, you know, even when it left the movie, it then came out on VHS, and you could have watched it over and over. So he says that the article comes out, and this reporter, I think his name is Jonathan Kahn or Cohen, they kind of showed it really quickly, coins the phrase the Brat Pack. Now, of course, it was a play on words of the Rat Pack, but the Rat Pack were older, they were men, they were and they didn't give a shit. You know, they didn't care. They went out, they did their thing, they drank, they carried on. They, you know, this was not a scene out of the movie. They all hung out at Frank's place, and, you know, they all went to Vegas. You know, it was not a movie. Whereas the Brat Pack, is now where they're being called, was not. Like, Andrew called these people up. He was in New York City. He's like, I'm going to call Emilio. And he gets everybody's voicemail. He calls Emilio, he calls Demi, he calls Judd, he calls Molly, he calls Allie. He gets all their voicemails. And then you hear all the phone calls coming in, like, why is Andrew McCarthy calling me? He had not talked to any one of these people in 35 years. I was like, what? 35 years. He had not talked to them. And he said that article of Brat Pack was so, and not, it wasn't, it hurt them. It really did hurt them that people felt as though you have these young kids and, let's knock them down a peg because they think that they're so smart and so cool. They're making all this money. They're living this life. Who the hell do they think they are? They're only in their 20s. So this journalist coins this phrase, Brat Pack. And this is, Ali Sheedy said, when I was auditioning, everything was fine until that came out, and then you knew that something shifted in the room. Like, it just, that phrase hung on every one of them. That they were like undeserving in some way of even being auditioned. Like they were being pigeonholed into these characters that they played in a movie. And I just found that so interesting because I would have really thought that they were, all friends, all hanging out, but every one of them, when you see them in flashbacks, in interviews, you could see how uneasy they are when the interviewer, no matter who it is, it was like Arsenio Hall or David Letterman, Conan, was interviewing them and asking about the Brat Pack. You could see how, even though they're not talking to one another, and part of it I think was deliberate, that they didn't want to be associated with one another. Like they had to get this stink off of them that they were brats. And I think out of all the people of the group that Andrew talked to, I think that it was Emilio that really still has this deep, deep resentment. I mean, but there's so many other people too. Like I'm just thinking of Julia Roberts. What was it called? Flatliners with Kevin Bacon. You had The Outsiders with Diane Lane. Like Diane Lane was such an actress. Streets of Fire. Like there were all these movies that were geared to us, and this angst that we had. What was it? Betsy's Wedding. With Molly Ringwald, and what was the one too where she was like, she got pregnant in high school. That's kind of like it's kind of like, what do you say, like off Broadway, but it is such a good movie, where her and her boyfriend, they're in high school, but they love each other deeply, and everyone is trying to have her not have this baby. And when she does have this baby, well, you laid, this is what you wanted. You made your bed, now lay in it. We're not going to help you. And like, they're just struggling, and they're so deeply in love, and it's so fragile. And yet, when you have her mother, saying he's useless and he's worthless, come live with me and we'll raise the baby. Like that was like a really emotional movie, and probably because I was a single mother, and did I hear the same thing? Yeah, kind of like, oh, what are you going to do? You're going to get married? You ain't going to stay together. I wasn't getting married. That was for sure. I knew that early on. I knew that in high school when my girlfriends were talking about what they were going to do after high school. They were like, oh, I'm getting married. I'm like, you are? They're like, oh, yeah, me and Greg are getting married. I'm like, you went to the prom together. You jumped from a prom to a marriage. And a lot of my friends after high school got married. I mean, John and I just called up one of John's closest friends. You all know him because that's the one that he did the movie with, about, turning 60 and knowing each other since, like, they both say we don't even know where the other one came from. Because they like, Johnny was just, part of the family, and Johnny was part of Johnny's family. So they just celebrated their 38 years together. Because they got married, they met at 14 and they got married young. Like, that always blows my mind when I hear that. I mean, I guess you just know. I guess you just know. I told you guys, I couldn't commit to a tattoo. I would be like, I don't know, get this off of me. Get the soap. I would just be so afraid. I would have been so afraid. I really would have been. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of friends that married out of high school and they're still married. So like there was that movie. But so, he goes to see Emilio, and Emilio, you could just see the resentment. Like he doesn't even want to talk about it. He's like, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to talk about it. Maybe because it started with him, but really they all had the same impression. Even when they went back to directors and producers and writers that they worked with, they were like, listen, that guy wrote that article. It was written out of jealousy, where Emilio felt like this is a friendly environment. Like, hey, I'm a good guy, um, and you know, this guy is going to write a good article because, like, why wouldn't he? I'm talented. I'm good looking. I know how to act, and this is who my dad is, and whatever. And he just it was such a nasty article, and hanging that on them, the Brat Pack, didn't help. Um, but if you get a chance to see it, I mean, I would definitely put it on. Then he went to go visit Rob Lowe. That was really cool. I think he did hang out with Rob Lowe for a while. I don't know what it was that they were working on, but then they went to an after party where they met up with Liza Minnelli. And Liza Minnelli was like, the club was closing at 2, and she was like, let's go to Sammy's house. And they were like, who's going to say no to that? So they go to Sammy Davis Jr.'s house. And like Sammy, even though he wasn't drinking at the time, he used to entertain a lot of people. And so like they were talking about that. So they looked closer, even though, again, they had not seen each other in years. Demi. Demi was more like the spiritual side of things, like where you could see that Andrew McCarthy gets very much in his head. I think he just lost his dad. And this is what he was trying to express to Emilio. He's like, me and my dad didn't have the best relationship, and we didn't settle things before he died, but we put them down. We put it down. And he just, he was telling Emilio that he was slated to do a movie with Emilio, and Emilio said, no, I don't want him in the movie, because he didn't want to be associated any longer with anyone from this Brat Pack. And he was telling him like how much he hurt him, like, and Emilio just seemed unmoved to me, in my opinion. Like, I don't like, okay, like I'll show up for your little documentary here, but I really don't want to go down this road. Well, then why did you even bother to show up? Because Judd Nelson didn't show up, and I was heartbroken, because I love Judd Nelson. One of my favorite movies of his is called From the Hip, where he is a lawyer, and I haven't seen that in a while, and I wouldn't mind watching that either. I always loved Judd Nelson. So we have a bunch of 9s here. Yeah, one more 6 here. So, yeah, it was really good. He sat down with Ali Sheedy, who, like, always was, like, the smart one, I think. Ali was always the smart one, and she was still the smart one, in the interview. And I thought it was really important that they defined who the Brat Pack was, because there was this one poster that was called the Brat Pack, and Tom Cruise was included, and I just was like, where did he come from? How is Tom Cruise the Brat Pack? But they were just, I mean, I would have liked to have seen Matt Dillon or Kevin Bacon, or Julia Roberts, very young, Mystic Pizza, Sleeping with the Enemy. Maybe these were more 90s movies than 80s movies. How about John Cryer? Like in, what was it? Was it Pretty in Pink? John Cryer. Ducky. How about, oh God, Matthew. What's his name? He's married to Sarah Jessica Parker. Ferris Bueller. I mean, like, we had great movies. We really did. We had fun movies, great movies. We didn't have movies that were, like, based on revenge and, like, crazy people. I don't know. Like, what are the movies geared toward today that are geared towards this same demographic of being, like, in your early 20s? Like, what are the movies? I don't even know. Like, we had, like, what was the one with the Mean Girls? Was it called Jawbreaker? where they accidentally, killed the girl by putting a big bubble gum in her mouth. I can't remember. I can't remember, but look that one up. That was Shannon Doherty, rest in peace. That was her. What about Winona Ryder? We had we had this young group of actors, and they're still working today. It's just they have had phenomenal careers. Like, you don't see Andrew McCarthy that much. I don't see Jamie Gertz enough. I just saw her in something recently. Like, maybe she does like guest appear. Oh, I know what she was in. She was in This Is Us. That's what she was in. Just saw that recently. So this is 7. This is 8. Where are you, number 9? This is 6. 7. Is 9 even? Am I getting confused? And 9 is not. No, 9 is an AB. But I just thought the whole thing was so interesting, especially from the standpoint that I thought myself that this Brat Pack kind of hung out together and was, still very close and still very friendly. And, they're not. They weren't. And then, I don't know, my video went bonkers, and I'm like, where is the rest of the show? It kind of went back to the beginning, and I'm like, where's the rest of the show? What's going on here? But that was really good, and it was good to just like sit down and revisit my youth and revisit these movies and just remember like going through the same things that everybody in the movie was going through. Great time. Like, and you had to invest yourself too. You had VHS. You were able to go to your local video store and rent a movie. But when the movie came out, you had to invest in being there. There was no like, oh, let's stream it to the house. Like, you had to get in line, you had to get tickets, you had to wait to get in, there was an investment of your time, and that's just so different today, John and I love going to this one movie theater, and, we make the investment to go because it's not here in Philly. It's called Movie Tavern, and it's a ride for us. I think it's out towards Phoenixville. But we get our tickets, we go. They have like a little bar. You can literally get your food and go inside and watch the movie like you would at home. But, you're relaxed in these lounge chairs, which is nice. But you've gotten out of the house. Today there's just too much in the house. Like, I was telling you guys, I wanted to meet up with my members on Saturday. And I was like, I can't even film because they sent flyers out the night before. They sent flyers out, hey, we're going to have a Halloween party on the street, which they do because kids don't go out trick-or-treating anymore. They just don't. They do these neighborhood things. Now, we have a beautiful schoolyard rec center. It is gorgeous. Our tax dollars do go towards Barry Recreation on the corner. We have a beautiful pool. We have a beautiful rec center. There's a place to play tennis. The kids have a beautiful field to play baseball. And there's always activities inside the rec center for seniors and, whatever. If you want to, I actually thought about going down there and teaching yoga. But they could have had this party there. So they decided they're going to have it on the street. Okay, well, the street's going to be blocked on this Saturday that's passed. I said to John, I was like, the street's going to be blocked off. So put the car like down towards the end of the street so that we could get in and out. Well, then they came around with flyers the night before that they wanted your car totally off the street. And like, this is this new generation of kids that are moving into our block. And John was like, he gets the flyer, he goes outside, he sees her with the baby, and she's telling everybody they're going to move their car. Well, you need an ordinance for that. You need to, put flyers up. You need to tie them to the pole and say, like, no parking in this area from X to X time. Oh, well, we just thought it would be better for the kids, like, you know, if you just, like, moved your car. And he's like, is the street going to be blocked off? She's like, yeah. He's like, so no cars are going to be coming down the street? She's like, no. He's like, so what are you having on the street? Well, we got a bouncy house. He's like, well, where's the bouncy house going to be? She's like, oh, it's going to be down our end. Not down our end, down her end. Because, like, that's where all the kids are. He's like, well, how big is the bouncy house? Oh, it's not big, you know, like, you know, about as big as, you know, your pavement. And we're going to put it here because this is where all the kids play anyway. And he's like, okay. Anything else coming? Well, you know, if the neighbors want to come out and they want to put a table out and they want to have food, whatever it is they want to, yeah. He said, I'm not moving my car. And let me tell you, I was telling my members, because I check in with them on a Saturday, and I'm like, guys, I feel so bad. First of all, my night is day, my day is night. I fell asleep yesterday in that lounge chair for 4 hours. When I got up, it was 9 o'clock. I'm like, now what? It's 9 o'clock at night. Now what do I do? Because I just can't go back to sleep. So John, I heard him upstairs, and he was like, I'm just trying to get comfortable with my shoulder. I can't get comfortable, and I didn't want to bother you. You were sleeping so, you know, soundly. I'm like, but it's 9 o'clock. What do I do with myself now? So I ended up putting on Chair Denise. And, you know, she at least makes me laugh. You know, she makes me laugh with this book that she's reading called Revenge, but from Tom Bauer, that is like the answer to Spare. What is that, a piece of paper? And I know it's a piece of putty. So I had her on, and I was like, do I want to die and paint? My hands were hurt, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had to do something because, you know, I'm recharged. I got, you know, I slept. I had to get more coffee. I had to reheat. But, you know, so I fell asleep in the chair. This is not an AB. This is just, you know, number 9. Where are we here? Okay. So I fell asleep in the chair, but, you know, the whole thing with, like, not being able to film on Saturday, I was up again, like, day is night, night is day. I went to bed Saturday morning at 5 a.m. I just could not go to sleep. I went to bed Thursday night at 11 o'clock. By 11:30, I was out of bed. I was like, this is going to be one of those nights where I'm just laying here and I'm, like, staring through my eyelids, and I can't do it. Like, I just can't sit in this bed. And if I get on the phone, which I don't keep my phone in my room, I was like, maybe I'll put, like, a yoga nidra on, and that'll help me go to sleep. But I just felt so freaking wired. I got up, I came down here. I was diamond painting until 5 a.m. And, like, John has been getting up at, like, 1:30 in the morning. So he came down. And I was like, I'm having a glass of wine. Do you want a glass of wine? He's like, yeah. I'm like, maybe I'll go to sleep. It just made me, I was just up. So I got up to a bouncy house. They came around. Now the party is from 10 a.m. till whenever. I was like, these people better grow up. I mean, you know, it's not until whenever. People live on this block because they did this during the summer with July 4th. They had a party, and at like 1 o'clock in the morning, we had to just call the cops and just say, listen, this is beyond now at this point. Like, people are trying to sleep. People got to go to work. You guys have been at it since 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, this is enough now. So we had gotten that rectified. Like, what do you mean by, like, whenever? Like, at what point can we bring our cars back on the street because you guys want to have a party? So I get up Saturday morning. I went to bed at 5 a.m. and I drew the curtains, and you know, John needs to sleep with, like, something on. I'm like, if you need to sleep with something on, just don't even come up these steps, because I'm like, now I'm like, I don't like when my days are upside down. You need to go away. Oh, here, I missed a whole, I missed more than a line. And I got up to this bouncy house, and I said to my members, I'm so sorry. I can't even videotape. There has to be like 100 kids outside. So John said, John's like, I can't take, now I'm up. He's like, do you want coffee? I'm like, no way. I slept 4 hours. I'm like near tears, John. Like, you don't feel good. I'm sleep deprived. My schedule is upside down. I don't like that. I need to have some kind of consistency. And now we got 100. I don't even want to open the door. He's like, let's get out of here. Let's go to breakfast or something. I open the door. There's nothing on the street but this bouncy house. That's it. And it's little. It's not a big one. It's tiny because I've seen them huge. The whole street, no cars, except for us because we weren't moving. And there's 5 kids. There's 5 kids in this bouncy house, and they're making a racket. Now, I know, I said to him, I said, this is just like totally uncalled for. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't understand this catering to children that goes on the way that it goes on. I just don't, especially the way that we grew up. I was telling my husband, because we went to the St. Nicholas Italian Heritage Festival that are at all different parishes here in South Philly. And I ran into my friends, and my girlfriend Ro was hysterical laughing. Do you remember you got punished because you let me in the house to get a drink of water? And I was like, oh my God, how did you remember that? She's like, how did I not remember it? She said, we were dying. It was so hot outside. I was like, and she jolted back what my father said to me. And my father said, did you have somebody in this house? Because the neighbors all snitched. This is what I have left of AB 08. This is it. That's what I got left. And I have to do the rest of this all in here. So this is another one I'm going to be... I have AB 08. I have a stash of them. But why should I have to use my own? Anyway. So, you're going in the need to be replenished pile. So what do I have? 3 here. I have 3 so far that I have to call Dreamer Design on. Okay. So, and I told my dad, I was like, and I was a good kid. I was never in trouble. I was a straight A student. I was never in trouble. I volunteered. I did the lunchroom. I took care of kids. I tutored. Like, my father knew better. I didn't change this putty in days. I think it's time I change it. All right, maybe not. So let's just get this done. So I said, Dad, Ro was hot. Like, we were sweating. He said, play in the shade. We weren't allowed in the house. We were not allowed in the house. We're not allowed. Every time I see that hipster that's like, oh, you guys, you drank from a hose. Did you not have sinks? Like, he just split the atom the way that he talks, No, we didn't. First of all, not only were we not allowed in the house, we didn't go near the house because if we went near the house, we had chores to do. And that's why I don't understand what is going on with these kids today. What is going on? They're like, I understand a lot of them have like a lot of like activities that they belong to. They got the parents running here and there. But there's just like, so now we had walked down to the corner when we were talking to the girl about, getting the deets, as they say, on this Halloween party that's happening for 5 children on the street, that cars got to be moved and all. One of the little girls, my husband has a collection of hats. And he can't raise his arms. So he's known her since she was born. She pulls the hat off his head and she's like laughing. And her mother's like, give him that hat. And she's acting like she's going to throw it. And he's like, I was like, what is going on? Oh, my father would have had that hat in his hand, given it back to the gentleman whose head she took it off of. And that would have been it. I would have been looking out the window at the party with 4 kids attending. He would have said, no, you don't know how to behave? What you did was rude? Didn't even ask the kid to, like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, now say you're sorry. No, there's none of that. I don't know what's going on. But I said to John, right now there's no kids here. There's only a few that are on our street, but wait until you see later on when they come around from all different neighborhoods. Like when they invite their friend, are you coming with your cat? No, we're coming, come on over. And of course the party gets started at like 4:00 in the afternoon. So, and those kids were in that house for hours. They never came out. They were doing somersaults. Scream. I said, it sounds like there's 20 kids in that bouncy house, and it's only 4, and their little voices just go through your brain. I'm getting old. I'm getting old and crotchety. I love kids. I do, but I just think that sometimes there's just, it's great that you want to do this for your kids and give them a bouncy house and all, but there's a rec center right down the street. Not that you could put a bouncy house in there. Do they really need a bouncy house? I mean, is this something that you got to have? I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm just getting old. I got to replace my putty. It has been days since I put this art dot putty in. Days. At least 2 days. Now, I don't understand this putty. I can't work with this. So I should just take these out of here and pick up a different color. But they do pick up ABs. You see me doing it. I'll use these last few because they're precious. And then I have a canister that I use. It's actually a tea canister. I've shown you guys. I bought it from Amazon, and that's actually Foofy. He's had enough of me. So he growls. He does this low moan, like, I'm trying to sleep, lady. Shut up. He's going too. So there were 3 of them that I got, and they were $10, and I use one just for my collection of AB drills that I order. So I think what I'm going to do is stop here because I know we're over an hour, and I'm going to just go through. I know I have number 9. I have enough of that. I know I have. I'm going to put you guys on hold, and then we're going to see what I need. And then I'm going to do a separate video on the glue that I bought for the bald patch. Hopefully it's for, you can tell, like, you know, I have used alcohol on my canvas. I get a toothpick and I dip it in alcohol. That was before when I had other putty, and I was able to, you know, just get, it would just ball up and come right off. So if you're using putty that is not this art dot putty, if you get putty on your canvas, you can just get a little toothpick, dip it in alcohol, and it just twirl it around. I have gotten alcohol. I have gotten paper, a piece of paper stuck to my canvas. And I sprayed it with water and just gently started to rub it until it turned into a pulp. And then I did it again and rubbed it all off. It was still sticky. However, if you accidentally lean, like I did here, you could tell it's dull. See how dull it is compared to the... If you accidentally lean on your canvas, forget it. The oils from your skin, I don't know what it is. It's a bald spot, and your drills are going to move around. So I bought a glue from Star Ore, where I get my skinny placers from, and I am going to try that out. Now this looks like, you see how easy I take things off with my nippers? That's why I use them. I should have cleaned that off, but I'm using my non-dominant hand. It came right off. That looks like it was old. It is, it's white. So it's old putty that maybe I didn't get it all, but I got it now. And nobody wants to wait for putty to dry. So I'm going to look and see. Oh, here it is. This is the area. Look at this area. This is terrible. Absolutely terrible, this area. This is where I leaned right here. Am I in the shot? No, I'm not. So see that? Look how dull. There's nothing there. So hopefully I have these drills. Let me check. I do. I have this drill, and I think I have. So this is the T going the other way. I actually have a few of those here. I have black, and I have these. It doesn't look like I have many, but I have them. So that's the part that I'm going to put the glue in. I'm going to do a separate video. Look, even over here, I leaned on this because I don't know why. I don't know why I leaned on this, but it's totally dull. And some of them are ABs. So that's going to be something that I'm going to do later on today. And so let me wrap this up. I'm going to look at the rest of my drills, see what I need to order. You know, I need 3 already. And I might need even drills here too, because it looks like I stopped. I stopped here. Oh, gosh. And I was telling my members that I'm working on Let Them Eat Cake, and I'm only halfway through her. Now, what I'm going to do, let me give you guys a sneak peek. I have all my canvases out. I was going through them yesterday with my members and what I intend to do to enhance them. So she's done up to here. So what I'm going to do is turn her around and start with her hair. And, you know, he is still masked because he is the skull that's going to get redone. So I'm going to start with her hair because I really want to get to that bird. And then I have a wedding Saturday, so I'm not going to be here. Well, I think Friday's the 1st. All right, so I will be here, and I'm going to have my Mucha out because it's Mucha Mania with Anthony at Single and Placing. So if you don't know Anthony, go over, check him out. And if you love Mucha, you know, like I do, I have a master class on Mucha. You can join us. It doesn't have to be a new, I'm saying join us like I'm doing the class with him. I'm not doing the class with him. I'm just promoting it to my subscribers. This is Winter from Diamond Art Company. This is Winter from Diamond Art Club. I usually get my Muchas from Diamond Painting Shop, but I decided to get this one because it was smaller, and I was able to use my little case that holds 30 drill colors and keep the ABs in the baggie and still shut the case so that I could, you know, just have something smaller to work with. I wanted to use those snap and close containers. You guys know it. If you don't know it, tune in on Friday. I'll show it to you. And I thought, this is so petite. It's not snack size. It's, let me see here. It is 50 by 97. So it's 20 inches by 38 inches. It's not big at all. I was like, you know, I'm worried about these snack size kits that I'm getting for when I go away, when we go on our road trip. We're driving to Florida in April. I could get something like this. I don't need to take a little baby snack size. So, and then I'm going through something with my members for another Curtis Regovich. So that's coming up on Friday. And then coming up after that is, of course, the Nordic winter that I discussed this with my members too about enhancements. So that goes on for December, and there's going to be a lot of fun things that I'm going to be doing with my members with this little baby kit, snack size 40 by 40. So if you want to join us, join the membership, subscribe, like, share. But she's like, I think when we come to the end of this, I'm going to take out I showed my members already some of my Marie paraphernalia, and we'll do a little bio on Marie, and I'll show you all the stuff that I have that is hers. But in the meantime, I need more coffee. I need to straighten up my house while the boy is at the doctor's house. At the doctor's, so that I could, you know, it's the only time I get anything done is when he's not in the house. So I'm glad I got to film. I'm glad I got to show you guys Rico. I'll do a clip at the end of like how many I actually need to order from them. I'll let you know what they say about Beauty and Violet that has a big blemish on her face. I sent them an email saying, you know, can you help me with this? Can you help me with the drills that I have? I did that actually this morning. And yeah, that's it. That's the story. We're beginning with Rico. We're ending with Let Them Eat Cake. I will see you as always in the next one. Bye, my loves. Have a good day. I'm just gonna say have a good weekend. It's only Tuesday. All right. Well, have a good weekend. Bye.